Hello. I, Sam Valentino, private toon detective, decided to do a little sleuthing involving a bit of controversy involving Walt Disney Home Video. Not the recent layoffs and shutdown the big bad wolf already discussed, but something that happened in the late 80s and early 90s with royalty lawsuits. It was the home video boom, when older movies and TV shows are just coming out on video cassette alongside certain newer popular movies. Disney was initially hesitant to release most of their anime features on video, feeling they should be exclusive to theatrical reissues, with a few exceptions such as Dumbo, because that was one of Walt Disney's favorites he worked on, along with short running time of 64 minutes, allowing it to be easily edited to run as the anthology television program. And Alice in Wonderland, since Walt wasn't fond of that one, especially after it initially bombed at the box office. And so a cut-down version of that was also shown as the anthology program, and never even got a theatrical re-release until 1974, 8 years after Walt died, to take advantage of its psychedelic imagery appealing to the hippie-trippy crowd at the time. And The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, which was pretty much just a compilation movie of the 3 previously released theatrical shorts with some bridging material and a new ending. But things are starting to change in the 80s, with home video growing in popularity. Before Ron Miller left his position as CEO, he gave the go-ahead to initiate a long-range plan to start releasing those vaulted anime movies on home video, and was one of the first things his successors, Frank Wells, Jeffrey Katzenberg, and Michael Eisner, set into motion in 1984, starting the Walt Disney Classics collection, the one with the black diamond logo on the packaging before the movie begins. As we've discussed, the first release in the Classics line was Robin Hood, a test-the-waters experiment that helped find the movie some new love and played a part in shaping the furry fandom that decade. They even had an even bigger success the following year with releasing Pinocchio on home video, fresh off a successful Christmastime theatrical re-release. Initially priced at a whopping $79, it was lowered to $29.95 for the holiday season as part of their Making Your Dreams Come True promotion to even stronger success. And yes, this copy I'm holding, it does have the trail for the Black Cauldron at the start, with a bit of the removed footage. 1986 is also Walt Disney Home Video's biggest year yet, with the Bring Disney Home for Good promotion, even introducing the famous Sorcerer Mickey Walt Disney Home Video opening logo many an 80s and 90s kid grew up with. But the Classics collection still used that primitive Scanimate opening logo, including the big release that fall, Sleeping Beauty. It was the one to introduce the familiar case spine design for subsequent titles in this collection, with the Classics Diamond logo on top, and a character or characters in the diamond profile on the bottom. But the controversy for this didn't start to begin until the fall 1987 video release of Lady and the Tramp, headlining that season's absolutely irresistible promotion by this time. By this time, the Walt Disney Telecommunications and Non-Theatrical Company was now renamed Buena Vista Home Video, even though the old name was still used on the bottom of the packaging here. Not surprisingly, it was a big hit on home video, even outselling Top Gun. This gained the attention of one of the cast members in this movie, Peggy Lee, who voiced Lady's Mr. Starling, the extravagant show dog Peg, and the 2 controversial Siamese cats, C and M, along with being involved with writing the movie's songs. She ended up filing a lawsuit at the Walt Disney Company for $50 million for violating her royalties contract to retain the rights for phonographic recordings and transcriptions, which is obviously why this particular album features cover versions of her songs. But when the contract was written in 1952, it was before anyone ever gave home video a thought, and she stated they released the movie on video cassette and laserdisc without her permission, and she managed to win that case, making legal history. It also unfortunately led to Lady and the Tramp going back into the Disney vault roughly half a year after its initial release, frustrating consumers everywhere. At that same time, Sleeping Beauty also went back a moratorium, partly since at that same time Mary Costa, the voice of Princess Aurora, was also inspired by Peggy Lee to sue Disney for the same reason, for over $2 million in royalties over violating her contract or prohibited Disney from releasing phonograph recordings or transcriptions using her voice without her permission. But it was also time for that movie to be vaulted again anyways, to make a theatrical re-release sometime in the future possible. Which did eventually happen in a limited theatrical release in 1995. Mary Costa's royalty case was settled out of court in 1991. But after that, she was able to get back on good terms with the Walt Disney Company, even being named a Disney legend in 1999. But then in 1988, Disney's classic Cinderella was released on home video, headlining that holiday season's promotion for bringing Walt Disney Home Video, a joint venture with Coca-Cola. Bring home the classics. The list price is even lower by $3 to $26.99. And there was even a tie-in promotion where you could get a unique Mark Davis lithograph when you pre-ordered the Cinderella VHS. And it was also the first one to use the Sorcerer Mickey Walt Disney Classics opening sequence, albeit a more prototype version that looked a little rougher than the more familiar version we all grew up with. Though it was used on a few later releases, such as some copies of Robin Hood, as seen in the YouTube poop on this channel. Of course, back in 1950, Cinderella was Walt Disney's triumphant return to single-story, full-length animated features, and its huge success managed to save his company. It's pretty much the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs of the 50s, but when it was released on video, it led to yet another royalties lawsuit. This time by Cinderella's voice actress, Ilene Woods. She sued Disney for $20 million. More than Mary Costa's lawsuit, but less than Peggy Lee's. It was $10 million for violating her contract and another $10 million for video royalties. And again, her contract back in 1948 prohibited that the full movie containing her performance be seen outside of theaters. This, of course, led to Cinderella going back a moratorium in the spring of 1989. Very much like what happened with Lady and the Tramp the previous year. She was soon able to reach an out-of-court settlement, which by 1991 it earned her over $2.3 million in the video release's profits, which sold 7 million copies before being vaulted because of the lawsuit, being the second top-selling video release in 1988, only behind Universal's E.T. the Extraterrestrial. The Peggy Lee lawsuit then led to the Walt Disney Company changing their contracts to note that any voice actors involved in animated features would give up their rights for any reproduction of their performances, now that the home video boom was in full swing. Though I remember when Robin Williams voiced the genie in the Disney adaptation of Aladdin, under the negotiation that his character not be heavily used in promoting the movie in a major manner. But you've probably heard how Disney breached said contract, leading to a falling out between them for a while. Which is why Robin Williams isn't mentioned anywhere on the packaging for the original 1993 VHS release, when the genie is so prominently featured, compared to later re-releases after the fallout and Robin Williams' death. Like the 2015 Diamond Edition Blu-ray release here, which even includes, for the first time, some outtake recordings of Robin Williams as the genie. So at least the Walt Disney Company's learned their lesson. Also, from what I heard, even though they just shut down the Walt Disney Home Video division, such physical media releases will still be happening, with Disney Media Distribution now taking over such duties, in association with Sony Pictures Home Entertainment and Studio Distribution Services, of course, since Sony assumed distribution 2 years ago after the dissolving of Buena Vista Home Video. And shortly afterwards, Studio Distribution Services took over distribution for Sony Pictures Home Entertainment. Funny how some things work out, isn't it? Still the end of an era, though. But I hope at least that last bit was informative for you guys, so keep watching this channel to find out more of what I managed to come up with.